Alright, in class the other day, actually I think it was on Wednesday, we had an issue getting the file to work correctly with a sample for chapter 7. Well, I fixed it. I'm going to show you what was wrong. First of all, here's the list of the file I had, the book1.txt. Now, I started each one with the name. And the problem was, remember I was searching on car each time, if you watched the previous video, kept airing out because we're using a data dictionary. Data dictionary keys on the first value. And since the first value was car, you can't have duplicates. So that's why I kept overwriting with the last entry. To solve the problem, I just added another field in my data file here. Just 1, 2, 3 all the way up to 20. So now, let me get that out of the way. What I did was, I didn't change any of this stuff up here. I made ID be field 0, the name and number and so on. You can add as many as you want. Then instead of keying on the name, I keyed on the ID. That way the data dictionary could store multiple values. Okay. Then I had a list. Remember, what we're going to do here is this for statement here is going to go through the entire data dictionary. It's going to look at all the values. And for each value, so for each value, if you look here, the values are all these items. Car, 1, blah, blah, blah. All these. Everything with the exception of the 1, 2, all the way up to 20 at the beginning. All the rest of this are the values. Okay? So what it's doing is for value in DataDict values, so for each of those things it's returning. So remember we got a name up here, so I basically got input for car. Then it creates a new list that's for each values. So it's going to take this first one right here. It's going to take that data right there, and it's going to store it in values. So for value in DataDict.value, so value becomes this right here, car 1, so on and so forth. Okay. So then I'm checking if value 0. And why did I do value 0? Well, if you look at this file, remember we are splitting on the commas, and actually when we're creating our data dictionary we have this right here. So our data dictionary means you're building a data dictionary that includes name and the first number. So this name, car, and this number. Okay, so car is the first element in it, and this is the second. This is index 2's first, and this is second. So when I say for value and values, I want to see the first index, in other words car right here, car or Creel or DeBolt or car again. So value 0 was actually car. The reason I know it's car is because when I built my data dictionary right here I said the first index will be name, the second index will be the number. So if you want to search on the name, you basically say value 0. Okay? So for value and values, if value 0, which would be the name, is equal to A, and A is the input I got, what's the darn name? If they match, then I'm just creating a new list. Actually, I already got the new list. I'm appending to the new list. I'm appending, car, and then I'm appending whatever that number ends up being, whatever that number is. Then that builds my list right here. This builds my list. Then when I'm all done, you notice I'm outside of the for loop. I created another for loop just to go through the list. So let's see what this does. Okay. First thing, I'm going to search for Bob. Bob is not in the list. I get nothing. Okay. So I'm going to run it again. This time I'm going to search for, actually let's search for Gilpin right there. I should get one, and I did. You can see Gilpin is actually on the list right there. So that is exactly what I got, which was perfect. Okay, let's do it a third time, and this time we're going to use car, which we know has multiple entries. So I search for car, you'll see I got the first entry and this entry and so on and so forth. Okay, so it did output all 4 of them. So it output the name, then it outputted this number. Why didn't it output the rest of this stuff? Because I didn't tell it to. Because up here I told it only put the name and the first number in the data dictionary. I could have told it to put the second, third, and so on in there. I just didn't feel like it. So That's how it works. Sorry we had the issue the other day. My fault. I just totally didn't even think about a data dictionary not accepting duplicate values. I should have known. I've only had like a million database classes. But so this is the fix for it. Let me go through one more real quick time here. I added an ID at the beginning of each entry here. Alright, so that became 0. The name, the num1, then I could have number 2 and number 3. Then for each line inside the file, I am building a data dictionary that's going to contain, first of all, it's going to be keyed on the ID, and the value is going to be name and number. Okay? Then for each value in the values, remember values are name and number. So for each value in values, value 0 would be the name, value 1 would be the number. So if value 0 equals A, which is the input I got right here, then append a new list. And what am I appending? I'm appending value 0 and value 1. I put the string in there, that way it solves that issue we always see. Then I'll put the list on the screen. Let's run it one more time, make sure we don't screw it up. There it is with multiple entries in it. Very simple. Okay? Alright, hope that clears it up a little.